Well, here's a piece of history. This is a beautiful old, very worn, loved, played Gibson J45. My understanding it's about a 1950 model, and it has a few issues. Frets are a little low, they're just about worn out on some of it, especially up at this end. It's probably been just worn down and dressed out too many times. It used to have a pickup in here, and we're probably just going to leave that the way it is. There's some ragged edges around the sound hole. The finish is just about completely gone. In fact, I would have to say it's probably more than completely gone. It's worn down into the wood in many places. There's some cracks in it, and there's a couple holes in it. Look at this patina, beautiful old finish. It's cracked and weathered, but still fine. It looks like Brazilian rosewood, I think, and that's one of the reasons it's cracked a lot here in the back. We'll be able to fix that. There's a hole here. We got another hole in here. We'll repair that as well. Neck is pretty iffy, and we'll probably sand that out a bit and just try and get that to feel a little bit better. We're not going to refinish anything here. And then, of course, look at the action. It's about 150 thousandths on the 12th fret, 160 thousandths, and so we've checked the relief. The relief is good. The neck is very straight. So we only have one thing we can do here, and that is to reset the neck, and that's what we're going to do. There's a pickup that I loosened the screws, and it just fell inside there. So I'll pull that out. We're going to change the pickup, and the fellow that owns this basically wants to try and improve the sound and playability of it, as it's just getting too hard to play anymore. But we'll be able to do all that. Still debating about what to do on this finish. I'd like to seal it up a bit, and we may look at putting a light coat of shellac or something on it, just to keep the wood from over drying out, or just to give it a little more protection. So we'll get started with pulling the pickup out of this, get the strings off, and getting it ready to do a neck reset. And I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. We've taken some deposits of glue that were on here. Not really changing the finish, and we'll be able to make this fit in a little better before we're done. But just the excess glue is all piled on there. Look. The saddle slot is really kind of caked up with a bunch of gunk, so we're going to clean that out. Just make sure that the saddle is sitting down there as tight as possible when we're done. take this fret out, and so that we can drill here, get the heat down into this dovetail joint. So I'm gonna put a little water on it just to soften up the wood a little bit. It's already hot, so good there. We'll just see if we can gently I'll take this out of here. And these pliers work really good because they tend to hold the wood down around the frets as you try and lift it out. Okay, good. Nice and clean. Now, mark the base side of this so that we know which way to put it back in again. Okay. See if we can find the pocket. That's about perfect. That one also, when you hit the pocket, the drill bit just goes right down because it's hitting air, so we found it. It's always a bit of a judgment call. And now, see if we can get some heat on this neck. But before we do that, we're going to score this. Minimize the damage to this. There are two foam cutters. That are going to apply the heat into here. Take the heaters out. We've got the heels coming loose here. to about 47 degrees top and about 30, 31 at the bottom. Comes. So that came off really nice and clean. Very happy with that. Let's take a look at the dovetail joint. So what we're going to be doing now is cutting this heel down to get the neck to tip up at the bottom, down at the top, to get better action on the guitar. So right now we're here and we're going to be taking it down just ever so slightly, probably down in this range someplace. And maybe 16th, 3/32, somewhere in that area. And it'll be at an angle. So I'm going to cut out some of this here in the middle just to speed up the process, and then we'll fit it to the edges. So I've let this dry out a bit, and now I'm starting to shape the heel, and we'll just see where we're at now. We were just about to the surface of the guitar at this point here. So what I'm trying to do is get the neck so that the plane or the top of the frets is going to line up slightly, maybe 1/8 of an inch over top of the bridge. And so we got quite a ways to go, because now it's halfway up the bridge. So we got a ways to go. Getting pretty close here. The line is shooting up just touching the top. So got enough rough fitting. Now we're going to fine tune it with some sandpaper pulls, and we'll hopefully be able to get it fit really tight to the body, as well as bring it up just the last little bit that we need to bring it up. So we'll start this with 80 grit paper. Inside of this sound hole is so rough, and we're gonna try and even that out. I didn't video this, but there's a crack that runs right from here back to just about a little ways in front of the bridge, and it's loose off the X brace that goes through here. So I've got the X brace glued up inside, and then it glued side to side as well. So now we have it all clamped up here in a couple directions, and let that cure for a few hours, and then we'll move on to another one. Okay, we have, this is X braced, but we have two braces that appear to be going about here and here, and this one is loose. This one's loose as well, but let's see, this one, yeah, there we go. It's a very nice sculpture brace, but it is very loose. So I'm going to need to get this glued back in there. I need some braces to go in and force it up, but I also need to get this clamped down. And should I glue this all at the same time? I don't know. It'll help to bring this back. We've got a bit of a slope in this because this is bellied up so badly. Let's just check and see what the so, as you can see, this is way beyond acceptable. Okay. Just gonna mark which end goes which direction. And we need to clean this up a bit. And we'll clean up the inside as well, but just need to get going to work on this back part a little bit more here. But while we're doing that, I'm going to fill these or glue these cracks that are in the around the neck slot here. So and get those stabilized and set up. So here we go. While that's drying, I'm going to see if I can plug these holes. They're obviously probably there for volume controls or something. I don't know. But and then there's another one here. So they're two different sizes. But I'm going to see if I can make some plugs and just plug those up. And they don't need to be like that. We're not going to be able to make them perfect, but at least there's no holes. Okay, well, I made a plug for this. Got it glued in, and we'll sand that out and then stain it in a while. Here, there's a bit of a crack in this waist area, and it doesn't seem to be moving, but I'm gonna just stabilize it with some CA glue, some thin CA glue, just put it into that crack. Epoxy to deal with this hole in here. So I've got another crack glued up here, and got it top glued back down to the brace. So that's what this is on here for. And I've got these two holes in here that I'm going to fill. And I've got one of them filled right now, and I've had to cut plugs to fill this, but my plug cutter, I've got a size that's too small and a size that's too big, so it's easier to grind one down than it is to grind one up. So I'm just work it, getting this down to size. Probably an easier way to do this, but this will work. I found some spruce that has some prominent grain in it, and I've tried to line it up as best I can. Find some grain that's about the right width. And it's a matter of grinding this down with a little bit of a taper on it so that it fits in good and snug. This is sitting up about a 1/16 of an inch proud right now, and once that glue sets up, I'll take my plane and knock that down, or chisel or something. We'll get it down to size, get it down to level. The neck finish is really worn off, and it's quite rough actually on your hands. So I'm not going to refinish this per se, but I'm going to try and take this down, just get rid of the grunge that's collected on here because there's no finish on it. I'm going to clean that up and sand off the edges of the lacquer that's chipped, and it'll make it a little more comfortable to play. And we'll still maintain its relic look. A little bit of touch up on the headstock. Just touched up some of those. Let's see. Do this one here too. Just brighten it up a little bit. Get some wax on this to kind of seal it up a bit. So I'm going to start working on this fretboard. The frets are really low here, but there's also a lot of pitting in the fretboard. So I'm going to try dressing this down first, just to use a razor blade in here. Give you an idea here. And just going to shave it down with the razor blade. That'll do a couple of things. It'll get rid of the divots, or most of it, and it'll increase the fret height. And that way I won't have to do any refret on this. So we'll work that out. And I'll probably have to come back in here and fill some of this. I'll use some of this material here and some CA glue, and we'll fill those divots, make it a little more comfortable to play. And also it helps with even intonation. You're not pushing the string so far to get it to make contact with the fret, and that's going to make it easier to play and sound better too. So keep working on this. Let's check this fret height again. Yeah, that brought it up to over 3 now, 30 thousandths. Yeah, where it was down at 2.25. It's perfect. Perfect. That way we can keep the original frets. We'll just polish them up and stuff, but yeah. I do have a little bit of some divots in here that we're still going to have to work out, but probably fill. Well, I didn't film the gluing that back brace. There's two braces that run through here, kind of almost in parallel, and they run off the side of the X brace over here, and they run back to the lower part of the boat, back in this area. And so this is one of them that I have out already. It'll go back in there soon, but for now I was able to reach in there far enough and get some glue squeezed into the brace that was somewhat intact. It was loose through the middle, but it was secure in the ends, and so I didn't want to break it out of there. So I was able to squeeze glue into the, just using my finger actually, to apply enough pressure to squeeze the glue in and then clean it all out afterwards. And so I've got that in, and it's squeezed glue up in through these cracks that are in here. So I finished gluing the cracks, squeezed glue down into them thoroughly, and now I've pulled the lower boat together as tightly as possible with this longer clamp, and then I'm applying pressure down to the center of it. There's a slight arch to the top that's built into the guitar originally. I think they call it about a 15-foot arch. You can probably see that even there. Some of that may be caused by some warping or just stress on it, but there is some arch to a flat top. So we've got that glued in, and now it's just going to have to set up until I get the then I'll start putting in that next brace. All of that's going to bring the top down quite a bit, and it was bowed up a lot, and that was because of those braces being loose. So I've filled all these divots, wear marks from the fingers, and I got one piece a little high here. Bring this down. Just fill it with some CA glue and some shavings or some dust of the fretboard. And we're ready to level these frets out. got the clamps off. I still have to put this one in. I'll be coming soon, but I just thought I would do a little bit of sanding and see what I can get some of this leveled off a bit. What I'd like to do is clean this top as much as I can. I know what happens here with this, with no finish on this, is that the wood starts to absorb oil, moisture, dirt, and everything into the wood, and that just clogs it up, and it just takes its ability to sound its best. So I'm going to try and clean this up and get rid of a lot of the grunge that's on top, and then I'm going to clean it with a couple of different methods before I do anything in terms of refinishing or sealing it. I'm not refinishing, I'm just sealing it. So the spit guard is loose. It seems to be pretty tight everywhere else, but it's loose here, so we're gonna get some glue in here. Well, we're going to try and get this brace installed in here. And so I've got a block here. I put some two-sided tape on because I need a little more. I need something to disperse the weight of the jacks or the pressure of the jacks. So let this tack up a little bit so it's good and sticky when I go put it on there. Okay, so I'm going to shim up this neck pocket. I think we've got the neck set to about the right angle. They're reasonably close, so we can just, but the more you have to change the angle of it, the looser it becomes in the pocket. So we're taking some hardwood maple here and adding it as shims into this dovetail. And push those braces into position until, shims into position rather, until they're dry. And I added another clamp in here as well to help bring this down. I might add a couple more if I can get them in there. So part of the guitar repair process is add glue, add clamps, and wait. So this will probably have to sit like this till tomorrow. Nice and snug. And it's, I'm sure, a little high yet. But again, high we can take down, low is a problem. A bit of a crack in this bridge. It's a pretty fine one, but this would be a good time to wick some CA glue into it. So I've glued in here 2 shims, one on either side of this, and I've started to work out the high spots. Doing that with some carbon paper. Just push it in tight, wiggle it around. As you can see, we're probably close to 1/4 of an inch. You can see over there, about 1/4 of an inch out of off the top right at the moment. Let's see, yeah, right there. So it's got to come down some. And then carbon paper leaves some black marks in there. That's what we have to take off. A combination of sanding and a chisel. Okay, we've got this neck down and into the pocket, really nice and tight. You can lift the whole guitar with the neck without it being glued or anything. So it seems to be fitting in there really nice and tight. There's no movement at all. So I'm really pleased with that. Just checking the alignment to make sure that it's aligned on here properly, and running a straight edge on it, or coming on just about maybe 1/16 to 1/8 off the edge of this last peg hole. Excuse me. And about the same on the other side. So yeah, I'm happy with that, the alignment. And now the last check is to make sure that we've got enough braking or enough height to the, and yeah, we're a good 1/8 of an inch over top of the bridge. So that's probably a little higher than what we need, but when everything goes to tension, it'll come right into the right slot, I'm thinking. So nothing more to do but get this neck glued on. Okay, generally just glue to the cheeks of the joint here, but I think I'm going to go a little bit beyond that on this one. In that this tail is so long on this, I'd like to get some glue on that just to make sure that it doesn't want to rise up and come away from the bottom. It won't be enough to make it too difficult to get out again should it ever have to come out, but it will help to keep everything in alignment. And we're going to have to put a shim in here, but I'm going to do that after. There's a little bit of a crack in here. I'll just be a good time to get that sealed up as well. Now some clamps. Well, the client was just here a moment ago, and he liked the way this was looking, so we're going to take a little bit more of this patina, I guess, let some of the blemishes out, try and get it a little cleaner, and still not go to full extent of trying to make it look like it came off the factory line. With the challenge of installing this LR Bags pickup in here, I've got to take a different approach to putting this saddle in place. So I've got down some rosewood and plugged this the ends so it won't be a flow through run through bridge or saddle any longer. And then I'm going to have to route out the saddle slot with a little more depth to it to accommodate the piezo wire that's going to sit in there. And I'll be drilling a hole in there as well so I can feed it up through. And then once we've got all that in place, we've got to put the controls up in here as well, and they'll sit right up in that area someplace. So it's about ready to start putting some finish on as well. And in the video, it looks quite a lot patchier than it looks like in real life, but it's a sign of what it's gone through. Here, I'm going to start putting some shellac on here. Now this top, I'm not sure if it needs any pore filling or not, but it wouldn't hurt to help to maybe fill in some of these miscellaneous holes and gouges and a few things a little bit. So we're going to use some pumice powder. I've got several old cracks here that have never really been filled or touched up or anything, so I'm going to try and just make them a little more pleasant to touch, if nothing else. So put some cleats on some of these cracks, a little additional protection. So while I was working on this bridge, I thought I should check the intonation. And sure enough, it was a little bit flat. In other words, it was the saddle was too far back, and it looked strange in that the pins and the saddle were so close together, but that's not really a definite factor. But then but it just looks strange. So I thought I better check this, and sure enough, it's out. You could get it close by just working with the saddle, but it didn't give you any room really to work with it enough. So I've put a couple strings on here, and we've tuned it up, and I've positioned the saddle, marked it out here, so now I know where to route it out, and then I've got enough flexibility. I've got it centered to the saddle, the intonation centered on the saddle, so I've got enough room to go forward or back a little bit when I shape the saddle to match to each one of the strings. So a little extra work, but it's nice to be able to get it set. So when you're having to do it anyway, we might as well go the extra mile and get it set so that it's proper. So anyway, that's done. Got it set up. Now I just need to take it out in the shop, and we'll router a new path for that saddle, a new slot for it, and then we'll be able to finish installing the pickup and everything into that slot as well. So just done the final couple of cleats in here. I've got all this done now, so now I'm just I've got those two to set up, and I'll do that. I'll rotor the saddle after I get this done, because these magnets are going to be in the way. There we go. Well, we're putting strings on here now. We've got I've adjusted the saddle down to close to where I think it's going to be, and put some new pins in here. The old ones were getting pretty nasty, so put a new set of pins in. Some of them need to be tapered a little bit, but let's see how this goes. So the Gibson is finished. We've taken care of the unfinished top and done the shellac coating on it. Filled some holes here. We've put a new saddle in it. We've reset the neck. We've done a lot of work to the fretboard, leveled it all out, filled a bunch of divots, done some work to the neck just to smooth out the chipping varnish and finish that was on the back and make it a little more comfortable to play. We filled all the cracks on the back. This Brazilian rosewood is notorious for cracking, but sure sounds nice. The top also had a couple of cracks in it here. There were some braces that were loose, and actually 3 of them were loose, and now we've got